Hey, Mark, if you approve it as it's written now, it's to keep the 4 magisterial districts in the exact same geographical boundaries that they are now, with nobody gaining or losing any ground. Unfortunately for Morris and for John Jay, or fortunately, either what, depends on how you look at it, their districts are too large in population size, and Bill's and Junior's are too small. You have to have plus or minus 5% deviation. And we ground these numbers all day yesterday, and the closest that we could get was 9%. Chris has the raw data on that. If you want to put that in the record, I appreciate it, Chris. I do have a copy of what he gave me yesterday. But in all good conscience, after I took home some material that Chris gave me, and I did about 2 hours worth of research on the internet last night, and basically, I don't think we can improve it. I know the commissioners did a good job, Bill. I've always appreciated Bill Harden because, which that's my favorite too. But now, Bill, when you put him on one of these boards, he actually works it. He actually, he's on that water board. He really does a good job. He's not one of these people that you just put on a board that just shows up. He really works it. Now, Bill, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here, but the numbers, just we can't do it that way. And I talked to you yesterday, and I told you that I was going to tell the fiscal court that it's my recommendation that you not accept the commissioner's report. Now, after that, it's up to you guys. You can approve it as it is, and if so, then that's fine. I'll be quiet about it. But if you do approve it, if it's challenged, I think we'd have a hard problem justifying the way they are. Chris, will you cite into the record the numbers that
For Lawrence County is 15,860, according to the census that we had drawn. But I've got what they done 10 years ago, the report. But right now, currently, in District 1, we have 4,318 people. District 2 has 4,315 people. District 3 has 3,612, and District 4 has 3,615. So we were under the impression, because there's 2 ways to calculate that, and I know that Eric had worked with us in the calculation and stuff, and then local government has a way that we discovered yesterday of calculating. When you do that, it shows it at 18% instead of, you put all the districts. I have copies of that for you all. And it's a tough one.
Like I said, first thing is you can say, that's all right, Hogan, we appreciate your advice, we're going to accept it. You can do that. But it's my recommendation that you not, because it's not within the numerical. Morris and John are too big, and Bill and Junior are too small. But you still can say, thanks for the legal advice, we'll override it, we're going to approve it anyway, in which case you're done. Okay? If you, though, accept my advice and refuse to keep the districts as they are, you have one of 2 choices at that point in time. You can send it back to Bill and Karen, and who else was on that meeting? And Mike. You can send it back to those 3 commissioners and say, you all need to do a better job or a different job, or you can say, thanks guys, you all are done, we're going to do it ourselves. Or, and like I said, first thing is you can say, that's all right, Hogan, we appreciate your advice, we're going to accept it. You can do that. But it's my recommendation that you not, because it's not within the numerical. Morris and John are too big, and Bill and Junior are too small. But you still can say, thanks for the legal advice, we'll override it, we're going to approve it anyway, in which case you're done. Okay? If you, though, accept my advice and refuse to keep the districts as they are, you have one of 2 choices at that point in time. You can send it back to Bill and Karen, and who else was on that meeting? And Mike. You can send it back to those 3 commissioners and say, you all need to do a better job or a different job, or you can say, thanks guys, you all are done, we're going to do it ourselves. Okay? That's up to you guys. Now, I had even brought this up yesterday. I said, I didn't know. I felt that if if somebody had to give and take, that it should be you all the ones that make the decision, because it affects each one of you all individually, and it affects your districts. I just throw that up for food for thought. I mean, if I was Morris and John, and I knew I was going to have to give something up, I'd want to be the ones to try to figure out where I should give and where I shouldn't. But now, Bill and them do a good job, and Bill will work his board. I know Morris expressed concern that he couldn't give to Junior because the only place they could give was out at where Blaine and help me out. Huh?
You're at Cherokee there.
Yeah, Cherokee, right. And it just, and that makes sense. And Bill, I think, understands that. He knows the county. He understands that, people that live on Webbville don't want to come across Cherokee Hill going to Blaine about it. I mean, so that is a natural dividing line.
So giving him more territory, it's tough. And like Spring Hill, it's been split. I knew it had been split twice in the population. One was Stellar where it went to, and then to Meadow Group. But it actually has been split 3 times. I believe I talked to Junior Isaac last night, and he said that the point section had come out of Spring. I didn't realize that. And it's back to a point again. It's just booming, out the.
Well, that's what all your growth's right here in town.
And
that's where all it's obvious that the growth is right here. If it wasn't in the town precincts itself, it was in.
Well, let me ask you this, Chris. If we turn it back over to Bill, which I commend you to do a good job on, can we, as masters, sit down in a meeting with them and go down, kind of get together and do that?
Yeah, you can set it with the commissioners and
Well, I didn't know if we'd be allowed to.
yeah, you'd be allowed to.
it's open meeting, anyway. Because it's a tough thing when you start moving voters, you don't want to deter people from voting.
They won't vote.
Right.
They just
And
will
it's,
not vote.
it's-
We're taking people off.
I can put,
When we do this, if we when we make changes, we're just eliminating these people from voting or anything. They won't vote county election, president.
well, that's why you gotta set these commissioners and explain that to them. Some, they might not understand, I mean, I think Bill understands it, but you're gonna have to give something and figure out where to give it.
The best
That matches a contiguous area that would, here's what I thought, and I don't want, this is probably not appropriate for this meeting, but I'll say it real quick. You could give to John about 600 voters, and then he could turn around and parcel out. You don't match up well with Bill. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't touch, I don't think.
It's got to be continuous.
Yeah, it's got to be contiguous, but you could give 500 or 600 to John, and then John could turn around and give about 300 or 400 to each one of those two, because he matches Junior out in the Blaine area, and you could Blaine and Abs, you could adjust those precincts pretty well, and it wouldn't disenfranchise voters because they're close enough that one could go to one precinct and one could go to another. It wouldn't make that much difference, and then John could give to Bill right here and around in town, where they touch here in the Spring Hill, Stella Moore precincts.
How many do we need to give back to Bill?
It'd be about 157 each. That's based on there's 2 ways of calculating the math on that.
What was your recommendation on it?
I can speak to them too, they're not here. For me,
Well,
for me out there in Rammer Gap area out there, and bring people out of Lick Creek and take them all the way to Blaine, they'll come out of Lawrence County into Carter County, back into Lawrence County, drive all the way to Blaine. I just wouldn't agree with that. But see, when you're talking about these numbers like this here, you're talking about households, that don't mean all these people vote. And by us not making any kind of changes like this here, my thinking was there won't be that much of a challenge maybe to it. The one challenge that maybe is not making any changes. That's why I recommend it like that. I see the number of people in these households that we figured out here, you don't know how many of them votes. So it's pretty tough to figure all that out. That was my thinking, the reason I was voting the way I did.
In District 1, you had 4,048 people. District 2, you had 3,967. District 3, you had 3,789. In District 4, you had 3,765. So you lost people in District 3 and 4. So they didn't have to change anything because they fell within those you know.
Statistical.
It's right, but you've seen growth in District 2 and, you know, with subdivisions, I guess, people moving into those areas, and also District 1, you know. And that's why where we're at. Ideal is instead of cutting your precincts up, it'd be nice to move precinct, a whole precinct, instead of trying to, the way state is very confusing. Your boundaries are froze right now. Nothing would take effect until next, you know, when they unfreeze the boundaries. But like Mike was saying, the legislators will set their district. We have to do this first. They actually got it kind of backwards, but we have to do our part first. Then they do their redistricting. And we've been fortunate to have the same representative. You know, some counties have different representatives, it splits the county. And I don't know, you know, but we was concerned, the board, whenever we met, that we thought, well, they're going to change something next year. Whatever the board and the fiscal court does, it won't affect what they do. I talked to state board elections. We thought it would. It's something different.
And when they have to go to Blaine or someplace else, they just won't go. And
What about your Buchanan district? Could you log off some of Buchanan, not go so far north and drop some of those off of us that's closer to Louisa into, where would that touch up? Help me out.
Well, they meet on 23 down around Potter.
What precinct would that be?
Buchanan Depot.
Okay, well, then could you drop off a depot?
You have to drop off the depot and give it to John, but he's got too many the way it is.
But
You have to give
what I'm
some-
saying is you could drop off a depot and give to John, and then John could turn around and swap some of that he gained to both of them. He could give the Bill and sell more precincts around and give to Junior out in Adams and Blaine. Put more voters from Adams up in Blaine. That's why I'm just thinking. Boy,
Now, you talk about that first challenge, you talk about that being a challenge from the state.
no, this would be a challenge from any registered voter in Lawrence County to have a right to file a petition in circuit court to challenge what we're doing here and say that you all have not drawn your districts appropriately, and that District 1 and 2 is too big, and District 3 and 4 is too small, and I'm challenging what they do, and I'm asking the circuit court for a ruling that my district is unconstitutionally drawn, that I'm being underrepresented.
To work with them, to work something out, leave it up to us to let us.
If it wasn't for the fact that Bill Hart was on it, I would recommend that you fellas take it yourselves and work it, which is perfectly fine, because like I said, it affects you all. But given that Bill's on the district, I would send it back to them and let them, that gives you all a little bit of independence in the matter. That way you say, you know, that, an independent board regrew the districts.
Yeah, all this stuff has to be sent to legislative research so that the legislators can do their redistricting.
Right. When are they supposed to do that?
I'll have to look at it. Is it October that has to be in October?
Boundaries in October?
I believe that's when, I think the 1st of October, it has to be there.
We got 2 months, though.